So, this is for you if you're an entrepreneur, a businessman, whatever, anywhere from 18 to 30 plus, even 40 plus, and you feel out of alignment, you lack clarity in your life, you feel like your work is just like you're just doing homework and it's a grind and a necessary grind. Maybe you're making, $20,000 a month more, 15, whatever it is, but you're successful and you have the ability to travel, you can buy yourself nice things, but it doesn't feel as good as it does because you're out of alignment. And so this is the exact process that I would take if I were you to get in alignment and get to a place where you feel good like I do all the time. You live your life in alignment and you do what is directly fulfilling to you, right? So the first step is I would build up your presence. And what I mean by presence is basically through meditation, through journaling, and through other activities, the state of flow. Like the flow state, it's called many things. It's the zone in sports. It is pure presence. It's being in the internal now, however you want to call it. But you want to think of, and this is starting with the foundations, you want to think of presence as the fuel, literally fuel, the gasoline to everything else that we're going to talk about in this video. So it's very, very important. It's absolutely vital to begin with presence. And the way that I do that, the way that I teach others to do that, is through meditation. So I actually started meditating more than 10 years ago because I couldn't focus whatsoever. And not only is improved focus a huge positive effect of meditation, but right, it gives you that fuel, and that focus gives you the ability to stack on all these other things that we'll talk about. So in terms of meditation, it's really simple. What I do is I sit in a chair in a relaxed position to a place where I won't need to move. I call this, it's basically just stillness meditation. So what I do is I sit in a chair in a quiet room, quiet area, make sure there's not going to be any external noises, phones on do not disturb, that kind of thing, lights are off. I sit in a chair, my hands are either like clasped together in my lap or resting on my thighs, and you don't have to have it completely straight back, though that does help. Feet flat on the floor and tongue on the roof of your mouth. And then I nose breathe, so I do 4 seconds in, and I'm counting in my head, 4-second pause, and 4-second exhale. And so I do that generally around, now that I'm especially in routine, I do that for around like 12 minutes a day, but I'll also do other sample times and use it as an effective help method to get basically refills on that gas. And I'll do it sometimes for 6 minutes. I just did one actually before this for 8 minutes to help refocus, redial, and refuel that bar a little bit. But the point here is a lot of people meditate and a lot of people have maybe negative experiences or they don't really know what they're trying to get. I break meditation down into 3 stages. Stage 1 is called monkey mind, where basically your thoughts are running, you're chasing rabbits, everything's going, like you're thinking about things 2 years ago, you're thinking about what you had for breakfast this morning, you're thinking about anything. And that's stage 1. Everybody goes through stage 1. The problem is you have it because you don't allow yourself other time in your mind to get rid of and basically let those thoughts go. So stage 1 is completely necessary. And if you've never meditated before, you're going to have that stage 1 monkey mind for sure. So you may need time to let that run out. But then the next stage is where we start getting into the good stuff. Stage 2 is what I call like pre-flow, or a auto-suggestion state, or a synchronicity state, where, and this is according to Napoleon Hill, right, in Think and Grow Rich and other books that he writes, you get what's called auto-suggestion. So you'll notice, if you observe your thoughts here, that everything, you might still be having thoughts coming through your brain, but everything is moving much slower. And if you look at the quality of the thoughts that you have, they're going to be a much higher quality in terms of like useful ideas. Oh, I haven't called my mom, I should talk to her. And things along those lines, synchronicities, downloads, auto-suggestions, whatever you want to call them. And so this state is still very useful, and especially the further down your path you get, the more useful it's going to be, because you can directly use and apply those ideas, and they are meant for you to act on. And so they will greatly benefit. But the stage that we're really looking to get to is stage 3. That's what, in sports they call the zone. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, that's a huge butcher of the name, calls flow state. You can call it complete presence. You can call it being in the now. Whatever. That's where you want to be, and that's where you're going to build up that fuel reservoir. Qualities of flow state is basically you're pretty much thinking nothing. Sometimes it seems like time is just lost when you get really deep in there, or otherwise you were just purely at peace and feel connected. And yes, I'll make this clarification too, because you can go from stage 1 to stage 3, back to stage 2, back to stage 1, back to stage 3. The goal is we hit this and you practice doing this because it's a skill of getting to that area. You want to spend more and more, not only of your meditation, but of your life in that stage 3 zone. And we want to build up that because that's going to help your focus and your presence for everything else. So once you've done that and you've regularly done that, really, I would say you can start with 5 minutes there or 6 minutes and then work your way up to 15 minutes at least once a day. And I would really recommend adding in those extra sessions from 6 minutes or 9 minutes to also help. We'll talk more about that in a different video. Next thing you're going to do after you've built this state of presence and you've filled up that fuel a bit is you're going to build your self-awareness. And so, yeah, you might be looking at me like, Will, I already have self-awareness. I'm pretty good in that part. But really, when you want to specifically build this and make sure we have that awareness, because the awareness is what's going to allow you to get back in alignment and correct all the things that are taking you out of alignment and making you feel this way. And so what we do there is we're going to get awareness on who you are right now. What do other people think about you? What do you think about yourself? What would your family think about you? And what would your friends think about you? And so do those evaluations, because our goal is going to be to make those as similar as possible. Of course, you don't have to tell your mother your deepest, darkest secrets or things, and there's going to be differences between them, but we want them to be similar, because when they are all similar across the board, that means that you are alignment and you are always acting as who you want to be. Our goal is to bring that awareness of yourself to see, okay, is this something that's actually for Will, actually for XYZ person, actually for you, right? Because we always want to be doing some things that are in line with you and what you feel you're supposed to be doing. So we build that awareness through exercises, through reflecting. Okay, how was my day? How much did I spend in presence today? Did I do things that were against me? Did I do things to people please other people? Or like, am I really hating this process? Am I going out with this girl who maybe is pretty, but like I actually really don't like, and I'm just doing this because I think she's pretty and I want my friends to think I go out with pretty girls, right? Those are all things you're going to evaluate in all of your life. Evaluate, okay, is this work really what I want to be doing? And get clear on those things, because then once you have the awareness, you're going to now go into the programming. And what I mean by programming is it's becoming more and more popular. It's basically what you've been led and literally programmed to think. So you're going to evaluate, why do I behave this way? What are my habits? What are my actions? And where do they come from? The key things here are you're programmed by everything you see, everything you listen to, everything you hear, and just period, everything you take in, right? And so we want to make sure that all of those sources of programming are positive. But also, you've been programmed since you were a child by your parents, by your teachers, whatever. And so you want to go through and look at your behavior and look at the way you think, your thought processes, and your mindsets, and see, okay, this is a scarcity mindset because, maybe my parents didn't have a lot of money growing up. And so now I have like this weird reverence for money. And when I get onto it, I hold it so much. And I think, oh, I can't spend money because I don't have all this kind of things. If your parents are not great with money and you want to be, is that programming you should follow? No, you should follow exactly what the people you want to be like, the people who are wealthy and abundant in life have. And so guaranteed, a scarcity mindset is not going to be what's there. So you're going to evaluate that programming and say, is this in line with the life that I want and the person that I want to become, that highest version of myself? And so you do that, you evaluate that programming, look at everything, okay, is this good? Is this healthy for me? And then if it's not, reprogram it, replace it, and reframe it with something else. So if you're like, oh, I go to Whole Foods and I spend $400 and it's so expensive and it scares me and like, oh, it makes me feel nervous, right? Reframe that programming of, oh, scarcity, I can't do this, of this is something I'm investing in. And I don't invest in things unless I get an ROI. So I'm going to Whole Foods. I'm investing in high quality foods that make me feel great, because I know when I feel great, when I'm healthier, when I'm getting stronger, and when I'm getting better rest, I perform better at work. I make more money. And guess what? There's your ROI and there's your reframe for exactly why you're doing this, right? and be able to, especially in that abundance and monetary connection to things, be able to say exactly why you're doing this. What is the intention in purchasing these things? Because, if you go to Whole Foods and you're like, oh, I'm just going to buy a bunch of random shit, then of course you're going to feel shitty about it. But if you go and do things intentionally, put the intention behind it, it totally makes sense. My ROI off of this food is going to help me make more money. So of course I'm going to buy it, right? Even if it might be seem like a little bit of a stretch. So after you've done the programming and really, really evaluate there, what you're going to do is look at your personal clarity. And so the way to do that is to evaluate, who am I right now? Where have I come from? What is my past? What have I gone through? Where do I want to go? Who do I want to be? And why? And the way to really do this is to look at what you enjoyed as childhood, what you've always felt called to, what intuitively you feel you should be doing, and how you feel about everything you're doing right now. And those are going to be all the call-outs once you have those answers. And please ask questions in the comments. Shoot me a DM on Instagram, whatever. I'm happy to help you there. So do that. And once you've found those answers and gotten to your deeper whys, why am I like this? Why do I want to be successful? No, really, why? So for example, one thing for me, you know me as a guy who has Compass, a private network of guys all around the world doing really cool things together and working cool jobs, owning cool businesses, that kind of stuff, right? Funny enough, as a child, when I played with Legos, I would collect sets from Indiana Jones, from Star Wars, from all the different areas that were cool to me. And instead of keeping them separate, what I would do is bring all these cool sets and characters and vehicles together and make them into my own imaginary world. And you look at, okay, that's what I was doing as a child. I have a network now made up of a vast amount of people all around the world who are just incredibly interested, multi-talented, doing really cool things and successful. So I'm just playing Legos like I did as a child in real life now. Those are whys, and you want to do those. So once you have those understandings of this is what I'm meant to do, this is who I am, this is where I want to go, you take action on them. And yeah, maybe you won't know direct, 100% locked in answers at the beginning, but you take action and refine as you go. The analogy I use here is if any of you ever played COD or a shooting video game. It's like you do that work on the front end of the clarity, you pull up and you have a sniper in the game. So you do the work on the front end, and that's like pulling up the sniper over a target, right? You're going to shoot whatever, and you pull up the sniper in, and then off in case, the scope has sway, right? So the work on that front end is the sway. You can see the target, you see where you want to go, but you can't quite focus in on it and lock on it enough to shoot out. But when you do all that clarity work and you see that, and then you pair that with the action, that action is the deep breath, lock in and focus on the target rather, and boom, you follow that up with action and refining that action, and that's you, the absolutely aligned bullet, accelerating towards the highest version of yourself and that life that you're meant to live, right? So after you've done that, the next thing you're going to do is use things like esoteric wisdom, knowledge, reality transferring, etc., understanding of synchronicity and abundance and scarcity to help you accelerate on your path. And these are all things that I say help my life unfold before me and turn my life into a video game. So I would recommend studying things like reality transferring, but especially keeping yourself at a high vibration all the time. Don't let yourself be upset, negative, be worried about things. Think, okay, I'm going to make it worth. Have greater faith. And then also, just like we talked about earlier, follow those synchronicities and auto-suggestions that you get from, maybe shower thoughts or driving or just talking out and about, because you should be getting them more regularly since you're still meditating all through this whole time. And then also you're getting them from stage 2, the auto-suggestion. And so another word for synchronicity or an auto-suggestion is a meaningful coincidence. And these meaningful coincidences are meant to help direct you towards that path you're supposed to be living, towards alignment. So follow the meaningful coincidences, keep track of them in a journal, and then act on them, because opportunities multiply as there are seas. Homage to Sun Tzu and Ruby. But you follow and you act on these opportunities, and then more will come through, and they will bring you closer and closer to what you're meant to be doing. Maybe you don't always understand it, but have faith and trust the journey and grow that faith as you experience the positive reward of following it, and you will become more and more and more close to that life you're living in, and soon enough you're living it. And then finally, once you're in that space, you're taking the leaps of, okay, this is what I really think I'm supposed to be doing. You're going to keep refining that, and you're going to evaluate, and you're now on your road, on your path, living in alignment. You're going to evaluate and keep an open eye and awareness on, am I still doing these things that align with me? Am I feeling out of it? Am I in a lower vibration, a lower frequency? Because, yeah, you might be on your proper path, but you might fall off a little bit. You might step off. That's natural. The goal then is to get as quickly as possible back on that path. So if you stop meditation and all of a sudden your life is getting a little funky, jump back on with that meditation. If you take an opportunity that isn't aligned with you, soon enough your life and your mind and your body will probably tell you, I hate this shit. This is out. Okay, do an evaluation. Is this really what I want to be doing? Is this what I want in my life? If it's not, then get out of it as quickly as possible. And so by continuing to do that and follow all of these things, your life will become better and better and better and better until everything you do is in alignment with your mission and purpose, like it is for me. And so that's the way to tap back in, to feel great all the time and feel deeply fulfilled with your life. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it's simple, and you follow that path. Feel free to ask me questions. I'll help you get there too. Cheers.